So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have officially gone live here on Facebook. We are live on Zoom as well. So, for everybody that's here joining me, thank you so much for giving me some time of your day today. We are going to go ahead and get started right now. So, just bear with me 1 second. And I'm so excited to go over the topic that we've got today, which is very much the first class of the software that we recommend, which is adding a client. Going through the entire process of doing that together is going to be a really wonderful thing for you guys to see if you haven't gone through it just yet. So let me go ahead and open everything up here for us, and we will go ahead and get started. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys. All right, so everybody, welcome to today's software class. My name is Jackie. I have been with the CRC team now for about 2 months. It's been wonderful. It's been such a great learning process for me. I've loved to get to know everybody. And I bring about 10 years of customer service experience to the team. I have worked with startup companies as well as major companies like Google and TELUS. Now, when I am not here working with you lovely credit heroes, I love to spend time at home. I have a cat who is beautiful but mischievous, and I love to watch gymnastics. So it's a little bit about me. Now, separately, joining me today is my coworker, Jella. She is amazing. She's going to be answering any of the questions that you guys have. Plus, she's going to be sharing some links with you guys throughout the class. So please feel free during the class to go ahead and post any questions. If you're in Zoom, do that in the Q&A box for us. And then in Facebook, just go ahead and leave us a comment, and Jella will be more than happy to address those questions that you guys may have. And then throughout the class, if you want to show us a little love in the comments, please do that as well. Today, we're actually going to go ahead and start looking at the process of adding a client. Again, if this is your first time, I know it can be a little bit overwhelming if you've never worked with the software. So we're going to go through that together. We're going to look at what the client agreement looks like and why it's so important. We're going to look at the client and affiliate portal for the clients, as well as any affiliates that you might be having for your company, and then the automated notification. And then lastly, we're going to take a couple of minutes to do a Q&A session. So please feel free to go ahead and post your questions then, but we can also address them at the end of the class. So let me go ahead and stop sharing for just a second. Hey, Andrea, again, Ali, Andrea, Rick, thank you so much for joining us here in Zoom. And for those of you joining us on Facebook, thank you so much. I've got a couple screens here, guys, so if you see me looking around, that's why. So we're going to go ahead and get started right now. All right, and we're going to look at the process of adding a new client. So let's go ahead and do that together. Share my screen, and this is what I want you guys to see here. Okay, perfect. So I am right now in my test CRC account. So I'm going to be able to go ahead and go through the entire process with you. If, again, you have your CRC account open, you're welcome to follow along with me. So the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is begin the process of adding a brand new client. So to do that, we're going to click on the My Client tab. And we're going to see here a list of all the clients. Now, again, if it's a brand new account, the only ones you're going to see are your sample client as well as your sample lead, which we've gone ahead and added in there for you so that you can take around with those users and try to test them out. And I would definitely recommend that you do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started by clicking the Add a New Client button right here. And we're going to go through the entire process. Now, before I even begin filling any of this out, it's really important for you guys to know that the information that we're adding here for your client is the information that is going to be some of the information that's going to show up on the letter that is going out to the credit bureau, those dispute letters that we're going to be creating. So it's very important, it's imperative that you guys fill out all of the information as well as make sure that it's all in there accurately. So we're going to create a client here. We're going to do, just going to name him Richard. Let's see, Diaz. That's going to be his name. And then we're going to do, now for the clients that don't have an email, I 100% recommend for you guys to go ahead and create one for them. Don't just leave it without the email. And I'm going to explain to you why in just a moment. You're going to see why it's so important that they have that email address. So I'm going to say just Richard Diaz at Mail. Make sure I got that right. All right, yes, I did. All right, now Mailinator is a page that allows us to go ahead and see what the entire process is going to look like. It's not a company that we're affiliated with or a site that we're affiliated with. It's just a really helpful tool for us. So I'll show you in a moment what that looks like. So I've gone ahead and put in my email address. I'm not going to add in here the last four of the social, the date of birth, because we want to go through the example. However, it's really important, again, that you guys make sure that you do add this for the address, just so you know. It does go ahead and generate down here, so you can go ahead and select it to make it a little bit easier for you. So again, all of this info, it's important to have that filled out, but we're going to skip it for this particular example. Now, the next thing that we want to look at is this section here. So we can go ahead and add the client or add that person in a couple of different ways. Under their status, you can either add them as a lead, prospect, a lead that's inactive, client, inactive, or a suspended client or user, excuse me. So for this particular example, we're going to go ahead and add them as a client. Now, we're going to actually come over here first to the date of start. So you're actually welcome to go ahead and use either a previous, current, or future date. It doesn't matter. So let's say you went to a community event last weekend and you went ahead and met Richard and you hadn't added him because you were sort of on vacation. So you can go ahead and add him now with that date. So that's perfectly fine. And you also have the option to go ahead and choose an affiliate that you're working with that referred him. So let's say it's going to be Josh Gale. So that's the person that referred him. And then lastly, over here on the left, we're going to look at assigned to. So if you're a one-man operation, you're going to more than likely just simply choose yourself. But if you have a bigger team or if you've got additional people working in the CRC software with you, you are welcome to go ahead and assign them to or the client to any one of those team members for you. Now, here's one thing that we want to look at that's super important. It's the portal access. Now, the portal access is going to go ahead and allow your client to be able to complete all of the onboarding steps. They're going to be able to sign your agreement. They're going to go through getting their credit report and their monitoring service set up, your digital signature. We're going to look at that in just a moment, but this is what's super important now. What you're going to see is that their client ID or their login in that client portal is their email address, which is, again, why we want to make sure that you are adding an email address. So if they don't have one, you can just create a simple Gmail or a Yahoo email for them so that they can go ahead and go through these steps seamlessly for you, so you can go ahead and help them out in the quickest possible way. Now, if you see here in the email that we've got a spelling error, it's important that you don't update it there, but that we update it here. So let's say we were missing a 1. So we're going to add that here. Now, this next section is super important. Your agreement, which we're going to look at in a moment, how to look at your existing one that the software comes with, and then how to add any existing agreement that you may already have. But when you're creating the client, and if it is coming in as a client as opposed to a lead or a prospect, you're going to go ahead and choose an agreement for them. Now, it's very, very important to remember that once you've chosen an agreement, you cannot change it. So once I click submit down here, you are not going to be able to go ahead and update the agreement unless you're working with a third-party service that's going to help you do that. But in the CRC system, you will not see any way to go ahead and change that agreement. So please keep that in mind. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the default agreement. Now, for those of you that are brand new with the account, you will not be seeing this section right here for the chargeable payment in your software because you have to have that enabled first. So once you have that enabled, you'll be able to go ahead and see this. For the rest of you, you'll just simply click submit, and that's what we're going to go ahead and do right now. So I've got all of my information here for Richard. I am not going to put in a social security again, just simply because we're going through the example, but it's really important that you do the last 4 digits. All right. So now it's going to go ahead and open into my client's dashboard. So here's where we're going to be able to see all of Richard's information. Now I'm going to stop sharing for a moment because the next thing that I want to show you guys is how to actually go ahead and thank you, Jella, for sharing that with us. Is going to show you what the client is going to see now. So we've gone through the process of actually adding the client, and now the ball is in their court to complete a couple of steps. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. Just a second. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys again. Again, please feel free to post any questions throughout the class, and my team member Jella can go ahead and show you guys what that's going to look like. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to share differently. Just 1 second. Okay, perfect. All right, so this is Mailinator. Again, we have no affiliation with them. It's just a simple tool that we like to use because it allows us to see, again, from the client's perspective on the test account, the way that it's going to look. So our email was Richard Diaz1. I'm just going to go ahead and click go, and we're going to have a look here. So this is exactly what the email is going to look like for your client. Login credentials for secure client access. All right, and we're going to go ahead and follow the step. I'm going to go, now keep in mind, at no point in time did you have to create this email. This is something that's already set up in the software. It's one of the many beautiful features that we have already created to make the process really streamlined for you and to look very professional for your client without you having to make the effort of going through and creating all of this. So we're going to go ahead and log in. All right, and the first thing that we're going to see is that they're going to request for us to set up a password. So I'm just going to create a super simple password here so that we can continue. And then the next thing that your client is going to be seeing here is their agreement. So the agreement that we set earlier was the default agreement. So that's what they're going to see here. So you're going to see all of my company's information. We're going to have here Richard's information already generated. Again, I didn't have to put that in there. I'll show you in a moment how that happens. The system does that again already for us. We've got Richard's info here. And then what he's going to do is he's going to scroll through the entire agreement. And now we are going to go ahead and sign the agreement. Now, if they're going through a device, a handheld device, they can go ahead and simply just sign with their finger. If not, they can go ahead and sign with their mouse. I'm going to do a little scribble here, and I'm going to go ahead and submit my signature. Now, one thing that I want to touch on before we even continue is it's important to remember that we've got one of the steps in the onboarding process is the agreement that we just saw, and we sign that agreement. Separately, there is a task called the setting up the digital signature, and that particular task is so that the client can choose a digital signature. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. For their letters, their dispute letters are going to go ahead and look like they're coming from the client directly, so they need to have the client's signature. So they need to choose one, and then putting in their agreement signature is separate. So it's important to differentiate the two. Excuse me. All right, so this is what it's going to look like for Richard. He's going to go in and click continue. The system is going to go ahead and guide him through the process of getting his credit report. If you have an affiliate, if you're affiliated, excuse me, with any particular credit monitoring service, then you would be able to add that to the account. We actually have a different class that does explain all of the steps, but we're going to go over that briefly later on in the class. So we're going to go ahead and continue. It's taking me somewhere else. Let's go back here really quick. Scroll down a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and just choose, I've ordered my credit report, or actually I'm going to go ahead and click next. Again, just for the example, the client would go through the entire process. they would go ahead and choose the provider from the dropdown, put in all of their information so that you can see it on your system. Again, because we're doing a test, I'm not going to go through this particular process, but when you're looking in the actual client portal, you're going to see, again, here are my list of onboarding steps. We've already gone ahead and gone through the welcome steps. We've signed our agreement. But one thing that I want to show you is the setup for the digital signature. So we're going to go ahead and choose the option that says complete now. And here you're going to see the different versions of a signature. So let's go ahead and choose that one in particular. And I'm going to go ahead and click continue. So again, if you're printing out a dispute letter and you've noticed that that dispute letter doesn't have a signature at the very bottom of it, it's because your client hasn't completed the step of setting up their digital signature. So you would need to go ahead and guide them back into their client portal so that they can complete that, and you would have to recreate the letter and print them out at that point. So just a quick tip, because it is something that we happen to see relatively often. So let me see here. All right, so we've gone through the process of adding a brand new client. We've gone through what the client sees on their end when they're completing the onboarding steps. Now, the next thing that I want to go ahead and show you is in the agreement, which is, again, what we looked at a moment ago. So if we're going to go ahead and start looking at our agreement, we're going to go into the My Company tab. I'm going to check here, make sure we don't have any questions. I think we're good. All right, so before we even go into the agreement, I do really quickly wanted to show you this information. This is info that's going to be showing in your client's portal, as well as part of the affiliate portal. So it's important that you do go ahead and make sure that not only do you fill it out, but if, for example, let's say you've moved or you're updating your contact information, that all of that is added here in particular. All right, and then we're going to go into the client agreement section here on the left-hand side. Now, let me see here, just a moment. Now, keep in mind that your account does come in with a default agreement, which is the one that we looked at a moment ago. However, if you do have an existing agreement that you're already working with, we're going to look at in a moment how to go ahead and add that. So before we even do that, I do want to go ahead and show you this particular section right here. So you have the option to not use any kind of online agreements for new clients with the portal access. This is not a very popular option. A lot of the clients do try to go ahead and make sure that the agreement is connected to the CRC software. The next option is to only use the default agreement, which is what the account comes with. And then the most popular option would be the one that I've got here checked, which is use a different agreement for all clients with portal access. So again, for those of you that are brand new, the only one that you're going to see here is the default agreement. However, you're welcome to go ahead and add several. Now, if we wanted to go ahead and edit the original one, to do that, we can go ahead and click the little pencil to the right of the name. And if you remember when we looked at the agreement at the top, it had my client's information, it had Richard's info here already put in, and that's because we've got these placeholders. So if you would like to go ahead and use the placeholders along with your existing agreement, you can do that. I'm going to show you that in a moment. But if you're, again, just starting in the software and you want to go ahead and use the default agreement, the only thing that you need to change is what I'm going to show you right now. So now that we're here in the edit view, we're going to go ahead and scroll down. And this particular section, for those of you that are brand new, going into your software, it's going to look like this. So the only thing that you need to add at this point is the price. Click submit, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. But right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the steps of actually creating a brand new agreement for ourselves. So I'm going to go back, and we're going to click on the option that says add a new agreement. All right. Now, test agreement and 2020. All right. Now, one thing that I wanted to show you is if you do want to go ahead and use those placeholders that we looked at a moment ago, all you would need to do, excuse me, is go ahead and click the option that says add original default text. And so let's say you just wanted to keep that top part, and then you can go ahead and then remove the rest of it. And then you can go ahead and come in here and paste in your existing agreement that you already have. So I'm going to undo just so that we can save it. We're going to leave it as is. We're just going to update the pricing. You're going to see, again, that's what it's going to look like. This one we're going to do 200 just to change it up a little, and 100. All right. And if you would like to go ahead and set this new one as your default, we can do that. So we're going to go ahead and click submit. Okay. And when we click back, we're going to go into the list of agreements, and you're going to see your new agreement here. And again, let's just reset this one back to the default just for the account's sake. So again, we've been able to go ahead and update the existing default agreement, and we've gone through the steps of adding a brand new agreement and seeing where you can go ahead and add the original placeholders to the agreement if you want to go ahead and use those. So let's go ahead and just stop sharing for a quick second. Let's have a quick look here. So that was your question, Rick, on regards to the pricing on what type of pricing you should set. I would definitely recommend to go ahead and post that to Facebook because we are a software company, and the support that we provide is very much towards the software. We really are not allowed to recommend a particular set of pricing standards because, again, everybody's in a different state, and each state has their own rules and range for pricing. All right, thank you for posting that for us, Jella. Okay, and then let me check Facebook here. Okay, I don't think we've got any questions there. Okay, perfect. All right, the next thing that we're going to go ahead and look at, guys, is the client and affiliate portal. So let's go ahead and jump over here. And let me share my screen with you guys one more time. Thank you, Jella. So we're going to go back into my company. Again, we're looking at the client and affiliate portal. So we're going to do that, just that. So under my company on the left-hand side, we're going to go into my client and affiliate portal. And the first thing that we're actually going to look at here is this logo. Now, this logo that you see here is the default logo that comes with the account. However, you are more than welcome to go ahead and update that for your own existing logo. The only recommendation that I have is to try to stick to these particular parameters because if they are not within that, the picture can either look too small or can look distorted, and we really don't want that. We want your account to look as professional as possible and your logo that you've worked on to look as beautiful and full size as possible. So please make sure to go ahead and stick to these particular parameters. Now, we're going to look at next at the details tab here to the right. Now, here, this is information that your client is going to be able to see within their portal. So you have the option to go ahead and show them their saved letters. So once you've gone, let's say you've gone through round one for that particular client, for Richard a moment ago, you've created his letters and you've gone ahead and checked this option, he's going to be able to go ahead and now see the letters that are that have been created for him. So if you want to show him, that's completely up to you. Again, these are options that you get to decide, the way your business is run, and these are all really preferences for you. So show signed agreement if you want your clients to see that, you're welcome to have that. Show dispute details in client portal. Again, that's a complete preference. If you think that it's not something that you want your clients to see, just simply uncheck it. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then show client summary to the affiliate. So if you want them to be able to see the additional information, you can go ahead and check this. But for this particular example, I'm going to leave it unchecked. The next tab that we're going to go ahead and look at is our resources. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you from within. Oh, let me stop sharing. I don't think it's going to show you guys. Let me share the other way. Okay. So again, this is our client portal. We saw what it looked like a moment ago. Let me see here. And what we're going to click on is the resources tab. So a lot of the times these clients tend to have issues with their credit simply because they don't understand the way the entire credit bureau and the credit system works. So these resources that you guys are providing will go ahead and give them an additional, some additional information on what the credit looks like and some additional information on things like, for example, we saw a moment ago, is it the Fair Credit Reporting Act? Just again, so they have a better understanding. I recommend for you guys to give access to your clients to see this information. So I'm going to go ahead and enable for my resource page to be seen. And then this goes the same for the credit information. So I'm going to go back here into the portal right here, credit info. Again, just more information for your clients to go ahead and make better decisions for themselves with their credit now that they have the knowledge of how it actually works and the way to improve it. So this is something that I definitely recommend that you guys go ahead and enable as well. Here we go. And then the next one is client's choice. Now this one can be a little bit weird, and let me go ahead and explain why. So for those of you that are, again, a one-man operation, you're just starting with the entire process, I 100% recommend to go ahead and have the client's choice off. The reason I say that is because when you're starting out, when you're learning the process, it's best to go through the dispute process side by side, you and your client, with each dispute item so that you have a clear understanding of what you do need to dispute or what should be disputed and what shouldn't be. So that you learn and so that the client also gets that additional service, that time spent with them so that they can go ahead and get a better credit score and really just improve their lives. Giving them that additional time is something that I would recommend. Now, for those of you who have a very large team or who have hundreds and hundreds of clients in your system, I would recommend to possibly choose the option for client's choice on, simply because it can get to a point where there's too many clients and you would just rather have them choose the dispute items themselves. You can go ahead and do that. But for this particular example, I'm going to go ahead and leave client's choice off. Now, one thing that I wanted to show you is the portal theme. So again, clicking back on this tab, you can see that I've got a gray portal, but things just look a little off because of the white and the gray. It's not something that I'm genuinely happy with. So you have the option to go ahead and change it. And I actually don't recommend a light color like that, because if it's too light, if it's lighter than that gray, then some of the buttons are not going to be seen. So again, let me show you what I mean here. Let's go back into the home screen of the portal. Here. So any lighter than this, and maybe my client is not going to be able to see the complete now button. So I really rather my portal be a darker color. So as soon as I go ahead and click out of it, it actually updates, and I'm going to go ahead and click view my client portal now, and it's automatically updated. And I feel like my client can definitely go ahead and see now without any issues. So I don't recommend a light color for the portal only because of that. Now, the last task, or the last tab, excuse me, that we're going to look at is a really important one for those of you that are going to be working with a credit monitoring service as an affiliate. If you are going to be working as an affiliate, it's important to make sure that you are coming here. These are all of the onboarding tasks that the clients are going to go through. So the welcome steps, ordering their report, setting up their digital signature, requesting their credit monitoring login details, and then uploading the documents, their photo and their utility bill. So there isn't an option to go ahead and maybe add additional tasks, but you do have the option to go ahead and edit the existing ones. So for example, if you're doing if you're an affiliate and you want to make sure that the company the company that you're working with is chosen. Let's say it's my free credits, or no, not my free credit score because it's already chosen. Say it's Identity IQ. You can come here, change it, and then save. There's an additional step to that, but it's important that you also know that you can do that change here. Now, we have an additional class that talks about those topics. If you haven't taken all of the classes that we offer, they are Monday through Thursday at 9 a.m. PST and 2 p.m. PST, and I highly recommend it. Some of my team members like Jorge, Maria, and Isaac are wonderful teachers as well to go ahead and explain a couple of different topics. And we're going to go ahead and jump back into the CRC software. Now, the last thing that we're going to look at is the automated notifications. So we're still here under the My Company tab. And on the left-hand side, we're going to scroll down and we're going to go into automated notifications here. Now, again, for those of you that are just starting out, one-man operation, these were going to be super simple. You're just going to set all of the notifications to yourself. But for those of you that have additional team members, please go ahead and take a look at these notifications and make sure you're setting them up. So you have the option to be copied on all emails sent to client, affiliates, and team members. Once you really start to build your company, this can maybe be a little bit tedious, so you might choose to go ahead and disable this. Please copy my team members on all automated emails. You can go ahead and choose whether you want to be CC'd or BCC'd on that particular one. Add credit repair cloud account holder to signature on all automated emails. Again, this is very much a preference. Add company name to footer. I've decided to enable that for this one. And then down here are the ones that are a little bit more in regards to your team members. So for any new lead notifications, you can go ahead and choose your any team member that you currently have on the account. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck Rita because I just want Luke to do it, to receive those, and then send new affiliate notifications. I'm going to uncheck Luke and I'm going to check Rita because I want her to receive those. Sent client onboarding notification to. I'm going to uncheck Rita and I'm only going to choose the option of send to team member assigned to that client so that only they receive the notification. Send daily schedule or agenda to each morning. I would recommend to go ahead and choose everyone if you have a team, just so that everybody is on the same page on what's going to be happening that day. And then the last one is automatically assign these team members to all new clients added. So I'm gonna leave Luke. I think Luke is good to go ahead and receive those. So that is all of the information that we want to go to specifically in the automated notifications, and that is the end of the class. Thank you again for joining me, Angela, through this class. Again, if you haven't checked out the others, I highly recommend them. And you're welcome, Rick. And separately from that, if you have any additional questions, if you want to receive today's recording, do me a favor and just go ahead and send us an email to support@creditrepaircloud.com, and we can go ahead and go over any additional questions that you guys may have. Again, since we've got no questions, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye, guys.